tell you is that MISA has very specific criteria and a very specific process when selecting the finalists for Women of the Year. And I can't unpack that for you, but there is someone who I think is possibly the longest serving panelist to my knowledge, and she's deeply informed. And her name is Miss Esther de Beer, and she's going to come and chat to me now. Please welcome her.
I think for me and Laura, that's been a judge with me, this year was completely different because the other years we met all the candidates and you got a feel, and this year we had to do it all via Teams. So we had to look for this through Teams because this is what we need. We need care and we need somebody that operates from their heart, because they must carry the message from MISA out to say we care and we want to promote women in the motor industry. We work very closely with organizations like WAR, that's supporting women, and then we need to promote women in a male industry without making them look butch. We don't need to, we don't all need to be mechanics, but you can make your difference with your heart and your soft approach. And that is what we actually looked for. Look for in a candidate and a winner every year. The difference that you make with your heart and your soft approach, but the impression you make can't be forgotten by anybody.
I love that sentiment. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. I've got to tell you, ladies and gents, I spent the day with these incredible women, and I'd like to talk to each of you just very briefly. Let's start with you, Mary. Mary, quite contrary. I'm quite reluctant to give Mary the microphone, want sy kan praat hoor. Wow. Wow. It's like I barely even had to ask another question, and she was in another chapter. In fact, she'd moved on to another movie in another cinema. But Mary, you all of you have your finger on the pulse of what your region needs. And that really, really touched me today, is how aware you are of what needs to happen in your areas and what you would do if you were to become Woman of the Year with MISA behind you. So about the kids that we spoke about earlier, and the women, and that level of need and that strange cycle that needs to be broken. Have a word about that, because it really moved me today.
I was involved with it's a non-profitable organization, and they had like 10 ladies that's working there, and obviously those ladies don't get a lot of money. And then I just decided to do an event for them where I got an actress that had to perform there, and we did a raffle, and then we invited some guests, and we just asked like a fee for the entry fee, and then with the money that we got in from all the things, the suppliers also came on board by giving a portion to our event that we had there. And what struck me is most of those ladies that's working there, they got their own battles at home, and the reason why I did that is to give them, to bless them with whatever we got there. And they were so grateful, and that just made me thought that each and every woman out there, they struggle, and they like hulle gee so buite 'n front. Hoe kan ek sê, hulle lyk so mooi, maar binne is hulle baie seer. En ek het net gevoel om vir hulle spesiaal te laat voel, en elke bietjie help om 'n verskil te maak. En daar buite is so baie vroue, apart van hulle, wat ook maar they hurt inside, en hulle kom nie maklik, vir alle vrou, sy pride, sy kom nie maklik uit en praat daaroor. So it's difficult for a woman to just actually speak about a hurt that she's feeling.
It's beautiful. No, it's
Yeah, and the stories is horrific. Like the one lady said she was married for 3 days, and she's one of the ladies there. She was married for 3 days, and on the third day, her husband choked her. And I said, but 3 days ago, he said he loved you in front of God in church, and then he decided he wants to choke you. So that isn't love. And there's a lot of women out there, like I said, that shame, it's a battle there. But like I told Terence also, this world needs love and care for each other. Sometimes ons vrouens wil net mekaar afdruk, maar in vandag se lewe, be the change that you want to see. And I always say, never let someone take your, never let anybody steal your joy, and live today because tomorrow is never promised.
beautiful. Ah, fantastic. Girls, I told you this is a praat hoor. We spoke earlier, and you spoke about exactly about women, empowering women in that sense, and tell me that story because I want them to hear it.
Okay, so I was a teacher originally, and I started in the motor trade 21 years ago. And it was very strange for me, a big difference from teaching to going into the motor industry. And one of the things that I saw is that there's, especially at that time, there were very, very little women in the motor trade. There was even something that married women didn't belong to the provident fund or the pension fund. That was one of the things that I changed at our company. And I always, and I'm fortunate that in our company we believe that women can do everything men can do, and probably they can do it better than men can do it. What's even better is they can do two things at the same time, and men can't do that. So we're a firm believer in women's rights and in the power that women has, and that women can do anything man can do. So I started looking around, and I saw in the workshop, which was also a strange place in the beginning for me, that there was no women in the workplace, in the workshop. Of course, we had lots of service advisors, and they're technically good, but there was no technicians. So I have this dream of a learning organization. Learning is extremely important to me because I believe that is the way to empower yourself. If you're a man or a woman, that is the way to empower yourself. So I firmly believe in learning. But there was no technician, no female technician. And I had this dream to one day be part of qualifying a female technician. And I had a few tries, and a few years ago, I found this lady. Her name is Mari McCabe. She's a Tswana lady. And she started with us, and 2 years ago, she qualified. And that was one of the biggest moments of my life. I was so glad with her that day that she can qualify. And then I just knew finally that everything men can do, or men can do, women can do just as well. And I told you earlier that the sad thing for me sometimes is that when you're involved in training in a company, then sometimes the person leaves the company for better opportunities. And that is very sad for me because...
I mean, it's a good thing, but it's nog hartseer.
Dis hartseer, want mens raak lief, dit is hulle is my kinders, ek raak lief vir hulle, kom daaraan soos uit die skool uit, en partykeer kom hulle ouers saam met hulle gestap, partykeer is daar mense sonder skoene wat by ons beginne werk, en wat 'n loopbaan begin, en dit is absoluut ongelooflik om 'n pad to walk with them. And it's sad when they go, but I'm glad for them because it's like a hen, you have to kick them out of the nest sometimes to move on to better opportunities. So yeah, that's my story.
I love it. I think it's absolutely beautiful and the most amazing attack. On live, Dora, the explorer. You know, we were just talking about upliftment and giving people the edge, and there is that gap when someone's matriculating, and there's where to go, what to do, how to earn, and there's something that you specifically have focused on that I'm finding incredible. Will you tell us a bit more about that, Lo?
So I've been with the motor industry for 16 years. With CMH Group, I started as a receptionist, and I'm now regional after sales manager. So I've worked in each and every department within the group, from answering the phone to sales, to parts, to workshop, everything. So when it comes, I think my expertise is more in the workshop. And each and every position in the workshop, except being a technician, I've done that. So with CMH, we train service advisors. We take 33 every year between Gauteng and KZN region. So my job as the region after sales manager is much of support workshop, look at how the expenses, the income that's coming in. But at the same time also, check being able that every individual, every employee is able to carry out the responsibility given to them. So what I do most is to identify where an employee is lacking. I think I must say I'm a teacher. So I feel that if I spend time with that person, training them, helping them instead of them being fired, and when they're able to carry out the responsibility for that job description, I think that fulfills me, and I feel good about it. So there is a need in the motor industry to train a lot of people, but also at the same time, as women here, when we are empowered and given authority, I see that we tend to focus on family. We bring family into the workplace. We bring friends into the work. And there are so many kids outside there that their parents cannot afford money for university, cannot afford college. So when you are empowered, when you are given authority, use that empowerment, the authority you have given, wisely. Don't use it as something to recruit family, but speak to the guy in the wash bay. They've got the son that they can't afford college. Speak to the technician in the parts department. Find out from these people. So I do that, like try to recruit people and speak to them. And I think the selection this year was very good. Because at the same time also, it's not good to bring people into the motor industry and they just there for fun because the daughter is your mom. No, you understand?
Although you say that, but there's such an enormous sense of nurturing from every single one of these women that let my klaar gemaakt vandaag. I really was completely finished. Thank you, Dora. It's amazing. I absolutely love what you've been doing. Bernadine, my engel.
Je gaat niet beginnen.
No, I can't even look at her. I have to ask you about, you spoke so specifically about the problems and the specific organizations that you're a part of, and I just need you to talk about that.
Okay. So I work closely with WAR and Untitled Children. So we... Jong, begin alweer met my. So the one you want me to talk about is Untitled Children, and they save girls from human trafficking and young children from human trafficking, and they take kids that the parents that are addicts, they save them from being sold. And the specific one was, they called me and they saved a little baby. Baby K was from the addict, but they saved a baby that was dumped in a dustbin, in a black bag, and that just breaks me. That kills me.
I know. Dit is hartverskeurend, and I just think that we are blessed, and we need more of you in the world to be able to take care of people like that. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the people about?
Just be more kind.
Oh, sweetheart. Samantha, my darling, how are you feeling?
Much better, thank you.
I'm so glad. Samantha had a massage and then a migraine. So So I'm glad to see you feeling better, my angel. And what struck me today is that just as the migraine notwithstanding, you have so many fingers on the pulse of what is actually happening in your community. So I know that if you did walk away as Women of the Year tonight, that you could do a lot in so many areas. I want you to just unpack that, because I know there's so many. But I want you to understand what I'm saying. Your sense of community is what struck me today.
Okay, so what happened is I was recruited by a soccer club, but to assist them with an event. And that spiraled into me becoming the club secretary, and eventually I adopted the under 14 team, and I became the team manager. And on this level, I could see that some kids come to soccer, to matches, and they don't eat. And this thing went on and on and on, and eventually it came to lockdown, and I'm like, I'm at home eating. I know that one and that one and that one is not eating. So what can we do about this? So I spoke to a few friends and I asked, can't we do a soup kitchen? And they say, no man, let's do a food parcel initiative, because the food parcels might last longer. And we started this, but this is just like, I found a few friends, you found a few friends, we get a few $1,000. But when we actually went out to the people's homes, like I would see you in the street, but when I go to your house, I get this other version of what's happening there. You get to a house and you have one grandmother with 13 grandkids and they sleep on the floor. It's a very poor area that I'm dealing with. And or you go to a house and this woman would say, I was just sitting and thinking, what am I going to feed these kids tonight? And here you come with this parcel. Jy doen diasporas. I'm sure you're doing this. So anyway, this thing spiraled out, and we branched out into the community, and we started giving out soup packs to the elderly. Oh, again. They don't have people visiting them. And you get roped into that, and then you get involved with kids, boys that get abused. So you're not on one thing. It spirals out into too many, different aspects. And you don't realize I just joined to do an event. And then you end up doing all these things. And I don't work alone. I got a great team. I can phone them down and say, listen, we're going to do an event. And they said, okay, you run with that. We'll just do whatever you say. You just do it. And I'm like, okay, are you sure? Can I get pink balloons? And they said, you can get purple balloons. As long as you organize everything, but we'll support you. So I don't do this alone. But there's a lot more that goes into that than what we do. And we end up doing toiletry packs for boys, sanitary packs for girls. There's so much.
I love it. You see what I'm saying about the amount of nurturing in these women, and it goes without saying that every single one of you is absolutely deserving of walking away as Woman of the Year. So, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our luminous Women of the Year finalists. So, ladies, I'm going to go let you touch up your mascara. As the rest of you, please enjoy your starters. See you a bit later.